Today I'll be responding to the last week on Booktube video and talking about what it means to be a real reader. There's been a lot of conversation on Twitter, video responses everywhere, everyone's talking about a lot of different things, and I just thought I'd add my 2 cents because this is the first big conversation in the book community that I've voluntarily been a part of. I don't plan to speak for the entire book community or certain groups of people or anybody, but I also don't want to make this about myself. I'm trying to make it broad without getting too all about me, woe is me, because these are kind of issues that affect everyone. If you don't use your platform to speak for a wider, broader view, then you're just making it about you, making it very selfish. I'm going to talk about this issue like in a 3-pronged approach, basically like your typical lit paper. First, Steve's video and his comments about BEA, BookCon, Booktubers, Publicity, authors, and all of that. Secondly, I'm going to talk about the comments made about makeup in the comment section of that video, and I'll read them to you, so I'm using everything verbatim. And then 3, I'm going to talk about what it means to be a real reader and who gets to decide that. I'll also be linking below the time codes for each of these sections, that way you can skip to whatever most interests you. He does this series on his channel where he talks about last week on Booktube, what was in his sub box, what was good, and what was bad, which is kind of typical reviewer behavior, but booktubers don't really ask for that. I know some booktubers are kind of mini celebrities in their own right in the book world, but I don't appreciate or condone this behavior for like real celebrities in a paparazzi magazine, and I don't really condone it on a video level of, sure, highlight the good things, but it didn't seem constructive in any way. It just felt like bashing of what people chose to spend their time videoing, uploading, and putting out on their channel. It didn't seem like it was Steve's or anybody's place to tell people what they should or should not be posting on Booktube. Sorry about the rain. This is the only time I could film. It's what's happening right now. So hate's kind of a typical behavior for celebrities or anybody who puts themselves out there, but I don't condone it on YouTube, Booktube, Twitter, Tumblr, on the playground, whatever. There's no place for hate, and there's no place to be commenting so critically on what other people choose to do. Just so much around this one video and this one man when the issue is with ourselves as a community. I'll get to this. So as far as the BEA and BookCon comments, that all the same 8 booktubers were seeing the same 8 authors, and they all had the same subscription count. So we said there were the same 8 authors, LMAO, which there were like thousands of people at BookCon, and I'm sure there were like hundreds of authors and agents and publishers and so many people that have the same 8? Really? And then he calls us unpaid publicity hacks. Unpaid, well, for the most part true. Publicity, yeah. Hacks, no way. With the amount of time it takes with Booktube to think of a video idea, then film it, and then put it on your computer, edit, export, upload to YouTube, and do all the annotations and all of that, we don't have the time or the energy to do things that aren't passionate and aren't exciting to us. Dear gosh, like, I don't remember who in the comments, but they're like, it's called passion, Steve. That reading is our passion, but Booktube is equally our passion. And then he was talking about arcs, that if there wasn't a panel you were interested in, wanted to go wait in line with your friends for an arc, then why not? It's your experience and you're paying to be there. If it's your friend that you're only seeing for 2 times a year, then why not? And I don't know why this is such an issue for him. There's an interesting point made by some booktuber with more than 10,000 subscribers that said that like some publishers won't even consider you unless you have the 10,000 subscribers. So if it's a book you're really looking forward to and want the arc and want to review it ahead of time because you're a book reviewer, then why not? And as far as the emotional connection, a lot of the vlogs from BEA and BookCon, they took out all the audio, so you didn't get to see what was said between the author and the booktuber vlogging the experience. So maybe there was more that just wasn't on camera. To be also disparaging not just on the booktubers videoing the experience, but also the authors that are there to interact with their readers, he just was kind of putting down the entire industry that he comments so greatly on. And then in Steve's video, he says that he's very perceptive of who real readers are and that these people do not read. They don't feel at all the same things about books that normal readers feel. I will return to this in the 3rd section of this video about what a real reader is and who gets to decide. So we all know who he was talking about in those BEA vlogs. They were in all of our subs box. And that's their time spent filming with friends, editing, and uploading that we're not in any place to tell them what should or should not be on their Booktube channel. Like, sorry it was such a slew of things, but that's kind of like the biggest book event of the year. So of course there's gonna be a lot documenting it. So if film's such a big part of our life, we're gonna film our lives also, you know? So that's just like 3 minutes and 25 seconds about BEA that really pulled this conversation together. Just in those 3 minutes, he felt like he was passing judgment on how all these other people spent their time and money when it's their lives and not his. And that just was kind of the issue I had as far as those just 3 minutes in the video. Second, in the comment section of that video, I didn't read the whole thread, but just Steve's comments was, I mean, do they strike you as readers? When you watch their well-lit, well-filmed videos with them sitting there wearing blush in front of studio lights, can you honestly picture them hunkered down with a book, happily reading, oblivious to everything else? I certainly can't picture that. First of all, lack of imagination. Secondly, that well-filmed and well-edited videos means you're spending so much time on that you can't read. True, filming takes a lot of time. Editing takes a lot of time, but it's also another hobby or a passion of mine. And if I was like doing any other hobby, that would take away time from reading just as much as booktubing does. That kind of sparked the real situation on Twitter with the hashtag FakeReaderGirls, that if you wear makeup, you couldn't possibly read. I'm a snarky person, I joined in, but this is the video where I really want to share my thoughts and ideas and the real feelings about this. So then later Steve came back and said that the people he had in mind wearing blush and sitting under studio lights were all men, but it doesn't matter. The point here is that impact trumps intention only with mobs, not with thinking people. Twitter ought to have better things to do with its outrage. Well, we're not talking about all of Twitter. Twitter did not attack Steve. This is an important conversation. We should be having it, but all of the comments just thrown at Steve were not the right place to do it. There was a mob of people who had read the comments on Twitter and went and watched the video and commented based on the makeup conversation, which is kind of within the well-lit, well-edited publicity hacks of Booktubers conversation of how are we spending our time and is that agreeable to our viewers. The time the Booktubers spent in setting up their lights and their camera and their makeup or concealer and their outfit is our time, and how we choose to spend it is kind of up to us and our schedule of what we put out there. I know for a fact that if my thumbnail looks like crap, no one's gonna click on that and even consider my ideas unless I kind of take the time to put together a well-lit video. It's kind of saying that the video editing and putting on a good aesthetic for the camera isn't compatible with feeling and reading, that we couldn't possibly be spending so much of our time feeling and having emotions and thinking critically about the books because we're too busy looking good. Is that the argument? Did I hit the head on the nail? Did I get it? From my women's point of view, the idea that I couldn't possibly have feelings, especially strong feelings and thoughts about what I'm reading because I spend part of my day putting makeup on, is asinine. Absolutely asinine. I don't care if you're talking about men or women. How you look does not impact how you think. It goes back to what I've faced my whole life of people thinking I'm too young, too feminine, too short, too emotional, too weak, whatever, just from looking at me because they judge me on my appearance before they judge me on my mind. Time and again, I've been doubted based on my looks, based on my age, based on my clothes, based on my appearance, rather than on my mind, and I'm really sick and tired of it, so I'm not standing for it anymore. In general, this world is going to judge you on your appearance first and your mind second. So having well-lit and well-edited videos at least gives you the opportunity for someone to hear your thoughts and your ideas. If little things like light or sound or editing get distracting through a viewer might exit out and not watch an entire video. So it really is the whole package just as much as my thoughts and ideas are, unfortunately. So finally, real readers, who are they and who gets to decide who they are? Is being a reader based on the number of books you read each year, how many authors you follow on Twitter, how many books you own, how many reviews you film or write each year, the genre you prefer? Is it based on any of that? No. Being a reader is based on your appreciation for the time and effort put into the written word and all of its formats. Being a reader is your own definition. If you read one book a year or 100, that is up to you. Having an appreciation for the authors and the publishers and the editors and the people that went all together into writing and creating this book, that's what makes you a reader, and no one else can tell you otherwise. Could there be posers out there in the booktube community? Maybe there are. Why? I don't know. With the amount of time that filming really does take, I don't know why people would pretend that they don't read the books that they're talking about or don't actually read to be a part of the booktube community. Should the community have descended on this one video? Probs not. A lot of the comments range from constructive to witch huntery. Should this conversation have occurred? Yes. Yes, for sure, for yes. Not just about makeup and girls and having multiple interests and having to defend them to people, but about what it means to be a reader and who gets to tell you based on if you have a Booktube channel or a book blog or a Bookstagram or not. That communal appreciation for books is what makes us all readers and what makes us all connect in this community. I'm so glad this conversation happened so that I could kind of get some of my ideas out there, and I'd love to have more of these types of discussions. What else should we be talking about in the book community? Literature is so much about what was happening at the time the book was written, so why can't reading be about what's happening in our society right now, with comments about racism, sexism, diversity, ageism, ableism, isms of all sorts, economy and the digital divide and opportunities and resources that we have. There's so much we could be talking about, and I'm glad this was a start. So if you say you're a reader, then you are, and me or Steve or anyone cannot tell you that you're not a real reader based on whatever sort of persona you put out to the world, because we don't know your Goodreads like you do. We don't know what you read and what's worth your time reading, but you do, and that's important to you, and that's really all that matters. So deuces, Laura out. Well, my name's Laura, this has been Bookies and Cookies. I post videos every few days, and I do love each and every one of you. I hope you really never forget it, and remember that you are a reader. Thanks, guys.